What's your prediction on your matchup with Risto?
My matchup, but I'm clapping. I'm clapping as
What's up, fuckers? That's right. We got a jam-packed episode for you this week, including a fantasy freestyle first, an interview with a very special guest. I didn't have time to write a clever intro for this week's episode, but you guys are gonna fucking love it. So let's get right into it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, to start things off, it was easy to write content for this week's podcast because holy hell did we have one awesome week in the NFL. First off, just to spot the most important thing that everybody's going to be talking about, and we've already talked about a little bit, but goddamn, Vikings versus Bills. PercThuggins pulling it out in the very end. But really, in those last 2 minutes of regulation, there was so many lead changes. Two back-to-back failed quarterback sneaks on the goal line in either direction. The second one resulting in a defensive touchdown to ultimately take the game into overtime, where the Bills, which the Bills already have a history with overtime, considering last season's fail with the coin toss against the Chiefs, and they weren't able to possess the ball. They raised such a big deal about it that they actually got the rule changed in the playoffs, which is important to note. But actually, they did have a chance to possess the ball, and in the end, he ended up pooping in his pants and tossing it right into the hands of the defense. Man, was that an exciting game to watch. Justin Jefferson with the catch of the fucking century. I'm a Giants fan, and Odell Beckham catch for the Giants, that was... I'm going to argue that still was one of the best catches, but this one was Odell Beckham's catch with the defender having two hands on the ball, JJ having one hand and just stealing his fucking lunch money, as they say. Another notable game this week, the Chargers versus the 49ers in Sunday Night Football. The reason why it's notable is because, man, I just feel so bad for Vaughn and all Chargers fans when you look at the list of all the players that are injured. And especially, I think they had one defensive line player go down, and they had another defensive player go down as well. But as soon as they lost that defensive line player, they literally were short on players, so they had to start running different type of schemes with linebackers on the line because they didn't have enough big boys up front. Man, I feel bad because injuries is always something that you can't control, and it's part of the game for sure. But you never want to see that happen to a team. I am sympathetic towards the Chargers because it's my boys' team and they get to shit on the Raiders sometimes. They started off hot, but we'll see how the rest of the season ends up for them. Hopefully they can get something put together. And if that wasn't enough drama through the weekend, on Monday Night Football we had another exciting matchup. This one for me was even double personal because, number one, it was an interdivisional rival. So I got to see... the team that was leading in my division get defeated. But number two, well, actually, I guess it's triple because I fucking hate the Eagles. But number three, I also got to win in my matchup in fantasy. But the Commies defeated Philadelphia, which was an undefeated team. They were able to dominate the time of possession by keeping their offense out on the field, rushing the ball with Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. At the very end, there was that one controversial call where Taylor Heineke kneeled down and he got tackled afterwards, and it was a roughing the passer, so it was an immediate first down, which ultimately ended the game. I'm on the mindset that I do agree that refs shouldn't be calling the end of the games on a penalty. Like, you don't ever call a pass interference on a Hail Mary, right? But at that point, the Eagles did have more than one chance to take the game over, and they gave up 2 turnovers through the game. And ultimately, if they didn't put themselves in that situation, then it wouldn't have had to come down to that play and, the penalty. It's just like when the Saints played against the Rams, and they had that egregious pass interference, and then the Saints fans cried and cried and cried about it. It's like, dude, your guy tossed the interception to them right before that drive. So... you had your chance.
Next up, Dustin Poirier defeated Michael Chandler with the rear naked choke.
Oh shit, wrong podcast. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to everybody in the Dub Club. Edwin, Henson, Raul, Chef, and me. In last week's fantasy matchup recap, we'll start off with Edwin versus Eric. Edwin clapped his first cheeks of the season. Yay! Congrats, my boy. I'm proud of you. He was able to overcome Eric with 30 points. Well, 28 points. We'll give it to him, though. That's a proper cheek clapping. Another proper cheek clapping of the week was what Chef dealt to Greg. With the final score of 123-65, Greg's team really let him down, while Chef's team led the way with Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Jones, and Jeff Wilson all going off for the week. Now these next two, although it wasn't the full 30 points, they both lost by 20-25 points, which qualifies as a light cheek clapping. You know, like when you have your girlfriend over in high school and you don't want your parents to hear anything? Raul came up with the dub over Vaughn, 122-97. Justin Fields, holy shit. And Henson was able to defeat Donnie, 112-92, to make Donnie go on a 3-game skid. Now this last matchup, my matchup against Christo, to me, might as well have been Bills versus Vikings, because through the whole Sunday morning, Sunday night, I was winning and I knew I had to gap him because of you know what I was trying to avoid, the Tuesday Blues, and I was set up to perfectly get destroyed. He had 3 players in the Monday night game. Philadelphia, an 11.5-point favorite against their weakest division rival, the Washington Commies, and on a Monday night stage at home. Now, this game did not end up how anyone expected. Washington came out and they were there to play. It might as well have been their Super Bowl. There was one pivotal point I remember when Dallas Goedert fumbled the ball. Shout out to Fumbles Lost -5 in our league, by the way, where I knew that I had a good shot at winning. Up until that point, I was clinching so hard that my glutes started to get toned. Final score ended up being 93-84, a nail-biter of a game. Congrats, Risto. Thank you for the challenge, and I'm happy that the Eagles lost. All right, it's time for the Power Rankings. Now, I do gotta say that I'm very proud of our league, the way everybody's killing it, doing their best, because we're all so freaking close. And this week's Power Rankings just go to show, because after an entire week of exciting ups and downs matchups, everybody stayed relatively the same. Now, when we take a look, Raul and Eric flip-flopped from first to third. But second place Donnie, fourth place me, fifth place Chef, all 3 of us stayed the same. Henson and Vaughn did a little flipperoo between 6th and 7th, but Christo, Edwin, and Greg are all firmly planted in their spots. All right, next up, we got a fantasy freestyle first. I got a guest on the show. Let's go ahead and get right into the interview. All right, so for the first time ever, let me welcome a very special guest. Everybody knows him as the league's trusted third-party fantasy news source, or playing up against him, championship competitor from last season, our very own Donnie Crapsheet Park. What's up, Donnie? How's it going, man?
I was building a crib for my daughter.
Dad duties. I feel you. So how you like this season so far?
It's fun. It's more fun than last year because everybody seems like they're a little more into it. So I like it.
Yeah, and it's definitely packed up close. Seems like anybody could still make it in.
Anybody's here, for sure. Anybody's here.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So you started off 7-0 before going on a 3-game skid. What kind of plans do you have to get yourself back on track and maybe try to snag that top seed?
Well, my main plan is getting my boy Uno back, Jamar Chase.
Oh yeah, how's that looking?
From what I'm hearing, week 12 against the Titans.
Oh shit, and that's the matchup when I play you, I believe.
Yep, that's the week we play each other, yep.
Damn, well, not good news for me. Well, let's say you do make it into the championship this year. Is there anyone particular that you'd want to face?
Oh, it's definitely Edwin.
Yeah.
I gotta give
Yeah, I figured as such.
Yeah.
Do you think Edwin has a chance?
He has a chance. He's going to sneak into the playoffs, I think, because I think JT's going to turn around. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely with that new coach. They just clapped the Raiders.
Yeah. Well, the Raiders' run defense sucks. But...
Well, best of luck to you and to Edwin. Maybe we can see a rematch this year. But let's go ahead and talk about some matchups for this week. Now, I'm starting a new segment. I'm going to call it Clapped or Close, where basically we're going to go through each matchup, and then you tell me who you think is going to win and whether they're going to get clapped or it'll be a close matchup. And it doesn't have to be a full official 30-point clapping, just for the sake of this segment.
Okay.
All right, sweet. Well, let's start off with Raul and Chef. Battle of 5 and 4s.
5 and 4s, yeah. So I actually have Raul clapping Chef's cheeks. Main reason is because Chef has 2 receivers playing against each other, and from the weather I saw that it's going to be a foot of snow in Buffalo. So
damn.
Yeah. No Gabe Davis and no Mark Cooper. He's going to have no receiving points, I think. So.
Damn, looking tough for Chef. He's going to have to grab somebody off the waivers or something.
Yeah.
Dope. Well, next up, Edwin versus Henson. This one is a sneaky matchup because Henson has half of his team out, although his bench is still super strong. What do you think?
I got Edwin winning because I think JT finally has good weeks coming.
Yep.
And I think it's gonna be close though.
Close.
It's gonna be really close. Yeah.
Close, coming down to the wire for Edwin.
Yep.
Sweet.
Definitely.
All right. Next up, Eric versus Vaughn.
Actually got Vaughn sneaking in a win because I think Cordell Patterson's gonna have himself a week.
Oh shit.
Really healthy, and they play a really bad run defense. I forgot who they're playing, but yeah, it's bad run defense. So.
Damn. Well, I don't want Vaughn to win because he's right on my tail. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Next up, I'm facing Greg this week. What do you think?
That one, let me look at my notes. I think you win by like 20, so I think you clap his cheeks just because he has a lot of Buffalo players and the weather again there, foot of snow.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
I think Curtis Samuel's going to have himself a game. I think he's going to get like a rushing touchdown against the Texans. So.
Oh, yeah, because he had like 4 manufactured rushes last week.
Yeah, they like to hand the ball off to him. So.
Yeah, he's kind of like a baby Deebo Samuel.
Basically, yeah.
Well, hopefully that turns out for me.
Yeah.
And finally, what's your prediction on your matchup with Christo?
My matchup, I'm clapping. I'm clapping.
Ooh, fighting words.
I heard a rumor that AJ Brown's gonna miss the week. He says he's fine, but from what I'm hearing, they're gonna keep him out just to be safe. So. Oh,
I think I did see in the Monday night game he had a little thing on the sideline.
Yeah, he rolled his ankle, but he says he's gonna play. But from what I'm hearing, the Eagles are gonna keep him out because I mean now they don't have to worry about the perfect record.
Right. Yeah. A lot of pressure gets off of them. I'm sure Christo is either happy or bummed, which seems to be the.
He's down Goddard too, so that.
Shoot. Yep. All right. Sweet. Well, thank you for hopping on. We'll hold you to those predictions in the group chat. We'll see who gets clapped, who's close, and good luck to you this week, my friend. And I'll see you in next week's matchup.
All right. Hopefully, I beat you too.
No way. All right, bro.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yeah, me too.
All right. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Fantasy Freestyle Podcast. With the fantasy playoffs creeping up very fast into the horizon, I want to keep wishing everybody the best of luck in your matchups. And I hope for the best of all us football fans, next week is another NFL week just like last week, so we can all enjoy some lead-changing games on the edge of our seats. I'll catch you next week on the Fantasy Freestyle Podcast.